Hey, what's up, everybody? It is A Millie back with another episode of the Sip and Sip podcast. I know I have been gone away from quite some time, but I had to come back because I'm just so elated because I have Hollywood's OG royalty. Mr. Ricco Ross, the legendary actor. You've seen him in such television shows and movies such as Aliens from the 80s and 90s. And if you are one of the biggest Whitney Houston fans, you probably have seen him in Whitney Houston's Saving All My Love. He was the lead actor, the lead role in that video. Please welcome to the Sip and Sip podcast, Mr. Ricco Ross.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You reached way back on us, didn't you?
I had to go back because Ricco, I am an 80s baby, 1987 to be exact. So I had to reach all the way back from Aliens and Hill Street Blues. I had to go
Right.
back. I had to go back.
I remember when that video came out. It was her first number one, and Whitney was nobody really knew of her before then. And that video came out, and it was such a hit, the song as well as the video, that I would walk down the street and I'd hit people from across the street hollering, "Hey, Mr. Whitney Houston, Mr. Whitney Houston."
I mean, like that video is legendary, and we're gonna talk about that video. But first and foremost, you are one of the lead actors for Tyler Perry's brand new show on Netflix, which has me in a chokehold. Netflix, Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black, and you play the powerful character that has a lot of mysterious secrets, Mr. Horace.
Yes.
So, what drew you to this particular role?
I did not appreciate the role when I first sent in the tape for it, and I was asked to send in the tape for it. It wasn't until I got the first 16 episodes that I read the scripts, and I realized this really is a special role to play, because it's not often that an actor gets an opportunity to play a character with so many layers. I mean, sometimes when you first meet him, you think that he's living on a fixed income, and that he's a senior, and that he's not very able. And then later on, you find out that he's actually a multimillionaire, and he's quite able. When you first meet him, you think that he could be the villain, and later on, you find out is he the villain or is he the hero? So there's just so many layers in this character that I just thought, I can't believe that I get an opportunity to breathe air into this character.
And you have brought a lot of breath into the character. How would you describe the dynamic between your character Horace and the other key players in the show? Because like you said, you have a lot of layers to this character, but there are
Mhm.
also a lot of layers to all of your other cast members. So what is the describe the dynamic between your character and other key players on the show?
Well, my character is kind of like the patriarch of the family, but he's also the CEO of the company. So he wields a lot of power. When it comes to family issues, he is the head of the family. He's the eldest, and when it comes to the company, he is the CFO and the CEO. So yeah, he wields a lot of power. I think one of the reasons why this series was so popular is that no matter what you like, you kind of find it in this series, because the story is based on an urban kind of livelihood, and it's based on a very high-end professional wealthy livelihood, and those two worlds clash, and when they clash, of course, there's going to be explosions.
And keyword explosion, as we saw as we saw on the season finale of part one, and now we're going into part two, which comes out this week. So describe your character's journey from part one into part two, because in part one we saw Horace as an old guy. He is, looking for to have a little bit of fun and, kind and generous. And then a turn of events, you see the the rage and the anger, the power which comes through, as we saw in part one of that scene where you literally took everybody out. So please explain like your journey with your character between part one and part two.
Well, when we first met, Tyler explained to me, he says, listen, Rico, I want your character to be mysterious. I don't
Mm,
really want people to know much about him because that gives us a lot of room to grow.
mhm.
And so he says, so in the beginning, I'm going to introduce you slowly. They're going to not see a lot of you. They're not going to have a lot of explanations. And as the series goes on, that's when you start to shine and come to life. And so I can tell that you're a fan of the first 8 episodes.
I
I can't
am.
wait. I can't wait to talk to you after you see the second 8 episodes, girl.
Yes. You're definitely coming back because we have to have another chat for
We have to
part
have a
two.
conversation after you see the second 8 because
Yes.
I think when I was reading the when you've got a series, you've got to read all 16 episodes before you ever start shooting, and when they're 1 hour episodes, that's a lot of reading. So I was pacing myself, saying I'm going to read two a day, and then I'll be finished, and then I can go over it again and read them again from my character's point of view. But after I read the first two, the first day I decided to do this, I had to find out what happened in episode three. And then I
Yes.
read episode three and I was like, I got to find out what's happening in episode four. I
Right.
read 4 episodes the first time I put my eyes to the scripts. So I knew that it was grabbing, that the series was going to cause people to binge. The cliffhangers are amazing. I just was
Yes.
very, after I read all 16 episodes and I thought, there's so much happening here. How do you follow up on this? How do you create a season two? And
Mm.
then I got the episodes for season two, and I say, oh, this is how you do it. This is how.
So when you were reading into season two, how did you prepare yourself for this new part? How did you prepare yourself for
That's
this?
that's a great question because a lot of times Hollywood actors get cast type, their type, and especially for televisions or commercials, they want you to be you. This was a character that was so different from me that when I read it and I sent in my tape, and then they offered me the part, I told them, I don't know if you really know me because I'm not this 70-year-old man that's elderly and it looks feeble and weak. I said, when you see me, you don't get, that's not the impression you get.
Mhm, mhm,
And I was told, listen, Tyler has handpicked all the lead characters. He
mhm,
handpicked you. He'll make it fit. And then we showed up, and Tyler and I had a conversation. We started talking about the character. And one of the things I discovered was that if I based the character on my father was a man. He was a big man physically, but he was also a big man in the community, and
mhm,
he never raised his voice. And when people around him would raise their voice, he would often lower his voice. And then
mhm,
they would lower their voice so they could hear what he was saying.
mhm,
And so I thought, this is my foundation. Because the man, when I read the script, I knew that he had a very powerful, solid foundation. So I thought, this is my foundation. Now I got to find the character. And I was working on trying to find, thinking of what I could do. I grew my beard out, and my beard is
mhm,
very white, so it helped a lot. The makeup helps a lot. Then I started walking. I started trying on different shoes, trying to find the walk. I couldn't find the walk. And Tyler suggested that I use a cane. And once I
mm.
got the cane, it was a wrap. I said, I got you now. I got you.
Everything just started coming
To gel.
together, gel
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
gel together. And
Yeah.
you talk a lot about Tyler Perry, and his Tyler Perry is known for his unique approach in storytelling and production. What would you say has been the most rewarding part with working with him on this specific project?
Okay, so I was one of the few actors. I think there were only two of the leads who hadn't worked with him before. He tends to use a lot of the same actors. Once he
Mhm,
knows that you can work within his system. Tyler
mhm,
Tyler doesn't shoot like Hollywood. He
mhm,
doesn't he can shoot a 16-hour, 1 hour 16-hour episode in the course of a month, where
wow,
Hollywood might take 6 months to do that. So
wow.
he is, I would say he is the Elon Musk of filmmaking because the way he films, it is not taking Hollywood's technique and tweaking it. It is starting from the ground up, starting something different. So once I came to grips with that, I understood this is a different way of filming for starters. The other thing I realized is that this man he's a savant.
Mm,
He is, and I don't use this word lightly, but this guy is a genius in the
hmm
way that he uh, attacks filmmaking. His storytelling is amazing. It's gripping, and he also finds these characters that are intriguing. And
hmm
he's able to write for women. He's able to write for men. He's able to write for weak guys. He's able to write for drama, comedy.
mm,
He's whatever he puts his mind to, he locks in and he gets there. And so when I started working with him, that was the first thing that really stood out is that I've worked with some of the biggest directors in the world. I've worked with James Cameron on Aliens. I worked with Stanley Kubrick. I worked with Brian De Palma on Mission Impossible. I can go on and name other directors as well. He fits in that category, and people don't recognize it now. But the future of filmmaking in Hollywood, I think Tyler has defined it.
mm, mm. Very defined. And Tyler's creative vision has shaped so many actors. What would you say how his creative vision has shaped the work you do on set in terms of performance and storytelling, and also maybe looking at other roles?
Well, he has made me understand that you can go further than you think, Rico.
Hmm
I had reservations about this role because I thought it was very very different from me, not only personality wise,
hmm
um, but he has a kind of force that can be it can be like nuclear. It can explode at everything. I'm more reserved in that respect. He also is a very charming character, so
hmm
he can be very charming, but at the same time, if you cross him, you see a whole different side of him. So I think what has taught me is that take on
hmm
these challenges and see what you can do. I even took it a step further. Just a little bit of a spoiler. In the second season, my character uh, goes abroad, and I lived in Europe for 13 years, and so
Wow.
I told Tyler, I said, listen, Tyler, I speak French, Italian, a little bit of German, Spanish, and I would love to do these scenes when I'm abroad in those languages. And he says, I love it. I love it. Go for it. Now, of course, I've got to deliver. So then, exactly, you put yourself up for it, you got to
Yeah,
deliver.
you gotta deliver. You gotta deliver.
And I came
I
up with
want
this idea. I came up with this idea because we're not only number one in the states. We were the first African American project to become number one globally for Netflix. It had never
wow.
happened before, and so because it's global, I just thought we need to capitalize on this audience outside of America, and that's why I wanted to do the my scenes outside of the country and in the language of those countries.
And that's amazing. You're just like, a triple threat. I mean, you speak all the languages, actor. Now let me ask you, can you dance? I mean, you
I
were in the
started off as a ballet dancer.
wow.
I started
So
my career as a ballet dancer and was doing very well. Worked with a company called the Broward Ballet Civic Broward Ballet Company in Florida. And after doing a couple of shows, I realized that I like to talk too much. I, can't, I like to run my mouth too much. I can't just do it with my body.
you,
And so
you,
I had a very difficult decision to make, and it was at that time that I decided, okay, I am going to be an actor, and I'm not going to be a dancer.
and I love that, a triple threat. And I have to ask you, since you said, you say that you run your mouth too much. Did you get in trouble as a kid? Because I
Oh,
mean,
that's
I know I talk too much and I do this, working radio for a living. So I understand, having to get back.
listen to me. That's how I got into acting, running my damn mouth. because I was in high school and I was trying to get into school early. We had arrived early, so I wanted to get into school early, and the teachers wouldn't allow it. And so I'm trying to talk my way into it. And this one teacher just says, "No, you're not getting in." And I got so upset that I started, getting teary eyed, telling her she's being unfair. I had to come up with some lie. She read right through it. She says, "You're not getting in school early. What you are going to do is you're going to be in my play."
Wow.
And that's how I got started in acting.
Wow. And it another layer, like, hey, the gift of gab. The
The
gift
gift of
of
gab.
gab. So I
But
wanna
when you come from a family, I have five brothers and five sisters.
uh-huh.
There are 11 of us. So, and
Wow.
coming from Alabama, we have big families, right? And
Yes.
when you have a family that big, you learn how to debate and
Mhm.
negotiate your way through and navigate through any type of personalities. And so for me, growing up as a kid, outside of home, it was cake because I knew that I had the skills to deal with whatever came about.
Mhm. Mhm. That reminds me of growing up. My grandmother was a child of 12, and so I
Ooh,
would hear
yeah,
all of the stories on my
yes,
dad's side. She was from New Orleans, and back there in the 20s and 30s and 40s, and growing up with your siblings. So I know how that could be. I didn't
yep.
grow up with a big family, but hey, I can understand with that, growing up with that many siblings. Now I want to shift gears back to you as an actor, and we talk about Beauty in Black. And I know you guys are such a loving family. It might not seem like that on the show right now, but I know on set you all are like one big happy family. What is the atmosphere like when you come in to work with so many actors, especially veteran actors like Debbie Morgan and
Mm-hmm.
Richard Lawson and
Mm-hmm.
so many other young up and coming actors and actresses? What is the atmosphere like on set with you all?
I think that casting a series,
Hmm.
a successful series, is like casting a professional basketball team. You
Hmm.
come in with the rookies, you bring the rookies in, they have energy, they have creativity, they have talent, and then you bring in the veterans to as a foundation. And I think Tyler took the same approach because he brought in Malik Whitfield and, as you said, Debbie and Richard Lawson and myself, and we are the veteran actors, and we bring the production level up to a certain level. They see how we are preparing ourselves. They see how we are taking chances, making bold choices as actors,
Hmm.
and I think this helps them have the courage to do the same thing, and
Hmm.
also not to go over the top with it, but to keep it real, to keep it really uh, based on a good foundation of honesty and truth. The cast behind the scene, there is a lot of love
Hmm.
with the cast beyond the scene. And I think it often starts at the top. One of
Hmm.
the things that Tyler does every morning when we start shooting is he gets everybody in a circle. He describes what we're going to do. He describes the problems we may have, and this is cast and crew.
Hmm.
And he asked everybody to join him in a prayer, whether you're religious or not. He asked you to join him in a prayer, and so I think he kind of sets the tone. And he
Mm.
says that if you're not religious, we don't, that's your business. But we would like you to join in just so that we can be on the same page. And he sets the tone of of um, of us being very helpful with one another,
Mhm,
generous as actors, as artists, respectful to one another,
mhm,
and it trickles its way all the way down to the bottom. And once you set that, and
mhm,
the show is successful as it is, it's
mhm,
very easy to maintain that. We know that we've got a winning combination, and everybody's happy. I've worked on shows, TV series that were about to end or they were about to be canceled, and there's a completely different feeling off
mhm,
camera. Everybody doesn't feel the same, but when you're working on a successful show,
mhm,
even before the show came out, you can feel it. There's a certain energy and
mhm,
synergy that takes place, and you can feel that what we're doing is clicking and it's working. Whether the audience will respond to it, we don't know until it comes out, but we could feel that what we're doing, this thing is working. So that's the answer behind stage. A quick little story about Tyler. We're working one day last year, April 16th is my birthday. This happens to be on my birthday. We're working 15 hours that day.
Hmm.
After 12 hours, it's 1 o'clock at night, and everybody is dead. Their brains are worn out. And Tyler senses this, and he starts DJing.
Oh wow! Wait, so
He's
Tyler Perry is a
girl.
DJ?
Let me tell you, the man's got skills, and he
Oh
started
wow!
DJing. And you know how black people are. Next thing you know, we're line dancing. We're doing it. We're doing it all. We are
Yeah,
doing it 1 o'clock in the morning, girl. 1 o'clock in the morning.
yes.
And he woke everybody up. And once he saw everybody was woke, boom, speakers went off, back to work. And the next 3 hours, we had energy again.
Wow. And with you being a veteran actor, have you ever experienced anything like that before?
You know, I haven't worked on a often in Hollywood. I am the one and only. When I step on set, it's only me as a black artist. And I
Hmm.
haven't worked on a lot of, predominantly or all black projects. I worked on P Valley a few years ago. I did the first and second season of that.
Hmm.
And that was like the first time I've worked on a drama that was kind of like all black. And so I understood there's a different feel, there's a different swag, there's a different relationship off camera that we have as a community, right?
Hmm.
But Tyler took it a little further because he actually took advantage of that. He knows that you put some music on, some good music on, we cannot sit still. He knows that, and
That
he knew
that
that will wake us up. And so I think he has taken it to another level. He sees an opportunity, and he jumps on it and capitalizes all the benefit he can get from it. And I think that's one of the reasons, one of his secrets, and being so successful.
and this project has been successful. When the previews came out for part one, and I know for myself, I was hooked, I was intrigued. I love mystery and solving things, but most of all,
Mhm.
it's with an all black cast of veteran actors and up and coming actors and actresses. And it's, as far as Hollywood goes, what do you think as an actor has been, well, the aspects of this role would you find most challenging and fulfilling as an actor?
Um, I guess the most fulfilling part of it for me was, as I said earlier, it's not often that you get a character where you are the protagonist at times, and other times you are the antagonist.
Mhm.
You can be the villain, and you can be the villain throughout. You can be the hero, you can be the hero throughout. But to be able to go on both sides of that, it's an unusual feeling, and it's a balance that you have to kind of capture. And so that in itself was something that I was intrigued with. And can you pull it off? Can you make it believable? One of the things I've always thought of as an actor is that if you are playing the villain,
Mhm.
you have to have just as much justification for your actions as the hero does for his actions.
Mhm.
So you're
Mhm.
not just being mean to be mean, or
Mhm.
you're not just blowing people away to blow people away. You feel like you are doing the right thing.
Mhm.
And so I took that approach with this character, and I took it on both sides. When I am being the villain, my actions are justified, and when I
Mhm.
am being the hero, those actions are justified.
Mhm. I love that. And as we go into a brand new season, part two, I can say for part one, I loved every episode. I didn't want it to end after 8. I needed to go 10, 20. I wanted to see more. And now that we're here in 2025, and we have so many episodes for part 2. Now, I want to get into this part 2. And I know you can't spill everything because we do have to wait until it airs on Netflix, which is this
Tomorrow.
tomorrow, actually March 6th. So I
Yep.
gotta ask you, Rico, what can we expect from part 2?
Well, what I can tell you is this: those of you who loved part one,
Mm-hmm.
put your seatbelts on,
Oh,
and
we in
and
for a
and and
ride.
get comfortable, because you're in for a ride. And if you love part one, I think you're gonna really love part two. And I mean, when I read the script myself,
Mhm.
halfway through, I remember thinking, how can you keep this going? How can you
Mhm.
top this? How can you create more intrigue and more cliffhangers? And by the time I finished the 16 episodes, I was, yeah, this is how you do it. this is how you do it. The guy, the writing skills that he has is amazing. But what he also does is I don't think he gets the credit for this, is he casts well. He casts people that are able to deliver what he wants them to deliver. And if they can't, he doesn't often direct, but when something's not working, he will stop and pull that actor over to the side and get them to the emotional place that they need to be, and then he'll start it back again. And when he does that,
Mm-hmm.
he asks the sound people, cut off your mic, cut off their mics, because I want to talk to them in private. And he'll have a private conversation. After that, turn the mic back on, go back, and this actor is where they need to be emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched him do it, especially with some of the younger actors, and it really works. And I don't know what he's saying, because I haven't had that conversation with him myself. He
Mm-hmm.
tends to let the veterans. He gives them enough rope to just go out and do your thing. And if you hang yourself, he'll pull you back. But he gives us rope, and when we take advantage of it, we don't abuse it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we take advantage if we're inspired to ad lib and to create different lines that weren't there. We will go with it. Create different emotions that weren't there. We will go with it. Sometimes myself as an actor, I'll give him what he wants, and after I give him what he wants, I'll ask him, "Can I have one?" And then I'll give him what I want. You know how I see
Yes.
it, and
Yes.
they can get into the editing room and they can choose whatever works.
I love it. I love it. And from part one, as we see three veteran actors, Richard Lawson, Debbie Morgan, and yourself. How was
And
it?
don't forget my man
And
Malik
Malik
Whitfield.
Whitfield, I cannot forget him.
Don't forget
Um,
Malik.
the four OGs. How is it working with those actors?
In
Um,
particularly, I
yes.
that was what I was looking forward to most, because, as I said earlier, often when I step on the set in Hollywood, I am the one and only brother or person of color in there, and I've seen these actors work, and I've admired their work from afar, but I've never actually worked with them before, and so to actually be able to work with them all, I mean, I did soap operas when Debbie was doing soap operas, but we were never on the same soap opera.
Yes.
Richard and I have met each other at auditions, but we've never been in the same project. Malik, the same. Malik and I actually met each other playing basketball, and have always
Wow.
talked about how cool it would be to actually work together, and it all happened in this one project.
And that's just a blessing that you all are working together. And not only that, but to pave the way for the other cast members, the up and coming actors and actors, and even beyond this project. And I cannot wait for all of the 8 episodes, because you said it was 16 episodes in total, but part two will have 8 episodes. Horace, I mean, part one, he was like really chill, really sweet, and then all of a sudden it was like a switch went off and he just went rogue. So what can we expect from Horace for part two? Is he even more darker, angrier? Is it going to be brother against brother? What can we expect from Horace this season? Because I was just from part one. But I mean, even more now after that, the season finale of part one, of who was in the car, and it's just a lot of questions, and I know we're gonna have answers to in part two, but what can we expect from Horace this season?
Well, what you can expect is you'll see more of Horace than you did in the first part,
Hmm.
and you all will also see consistency.
Hmm.
The consistency, what I mean by consistency in this respect, is that when he is kind to someone, when he is generous, is coming from a place of truth, and he really feels that. When he is crossed, he will take the necessary actions, whatever those actions may be, and he has the power and the resources to do that. So and one of the things about this series is that there is a constant struggle for power.
Hmm.
When you're at the top, they come for you, and not only am I at the top, but I'm also trying to bring someone to the top, and they're going to come for her too.
Hmm.
And as the person, as the patriarch of the family, I'm going to look out for that person.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
I'm trying not to give a spoiler to people who haven't seen
I
part one, but I'm going
listen.
to look out for that person, and I'm going to be consistent in that. And as I said, I have the resources and the power to do whatever actions that are necessary.
I mean, and Horace did in part one. He did what was necessary, and I was just shocked. I just remember that one scene, and I don't want to give away part one for those who have not seen it, but you have to watch part one because it's not what you would expect. I think I had to rise out of my bed like, what? Oh, I mean, it was amazing. Part one is amazing. And I know
Thank you.
part two airs tomorrow on Netflix. So make sure if you don't have Netflix, I need you, all the listeners on here, make sure you get Netflix. Part two of Tyler Perry's Beauty and Black airs tomorrow, March 6th on Netflix, all 8 episodes. I can't wait to binge watch this weekend. And I gotta ask you, Ricco, since you are, you seem like you may be 40. You seem very young and you look very nice and
Thank
great.
you.
um any other music videos we can expect from you, because you were in Whitney Houston, and how was that working on set with the legendary Whitney Houston for Saving All My Love?
I got to tell you, when I first met her, I just thought she was an attractive young sister. That's
Hmm.
the way I saw her. She was young. I didn't know much about her. Uh, no one really knew. The Saving All My Love was her first number one hit. And I
Wow.
think it was
Hmm.
because of her amazing voice.
Hmm.
But I also think that video did a lot to help that become a number one success. When
Hmm.
we first started working, it was just people working. She wasn't an actor. I was giving her some pointers on acting, and I was just saying, let's have fun. Let's bounce off of each other. I said, don't be afraid to just say what you feel, because whatever you say, I'm gonna bounce off, and we're gonna have a conversation like we're having right now.
Hmm.
And she was down with it. The moment that I realized that she was something special was I'm in the video. I am the producer and she's the artist. And at some point, those lines get crossed, and we become and there's an attraction there. Well,
Hmm.
I'm watching her from the booth, and she's singing this song. And the director of the video was saying it's not working. He kept cutting. We were on like take 3 or 4, and then he stopped and he says, "Whitney, can you not lip sync it? Can you actually sing it?" And let me
Mm.
tell you, when she started singing it,
Oh.
it was a wrap. I was like, this girl is something special. I didn't know she would become the artist that she had
Hmm.
become, but I
Hmm.
knew that she had what it takes
Hmm.
to become that artist. Because once she started singing, the emotion that she
Hmm.
was able to come up with, the the interpretation of the song that she was able to come up with, the artistic ability to control her voice the way she used it. I just thought she's got it all. She ticks all the boxes. Not only that, she's beautiful as fuck. So I'm like, this girl here, she got
Yes.
it all, and we actually got along very well. We exchanged numbers. We wanted to stay in touch, but I was living in London at the time, and she was living in New York, so
Mhm.
it didn't really happen. And later on, I found out that she was hooking up with Mr. Brown.
Listen, if the stars were aligned, it could have been you,
Yeah,
but I think we saw that in Saving All My Love. Ricco, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Sip and Sip podcast. It is just such a great, just being in the presence of Hollywood royalty and OG. And I love, love, love Beauty in Black. And I cannot wait to see part two, to see what Horace gets into and all the other storylines crossing in. And I'm just happy just to see it back. Now I have something to watch on television.
I can't wait. I can't wait to talk to you after you see it, because I want to
Yes.
hear your spin on what you saw on the second 8 episodes.
Oh yes, we're gonna have to do this again, and I will be emailing your publicist so we can go ahead and get another interview confirmed and everything. But any last words on what people can expect? Just give me some 3 words that describes part two.
um, entertaining,
Mm,
um, surprising, and drama.
drama. Oh, now that is juicy. That is real juicy, and I cannot wait for it. Mr. Ricco Ross, it is a pleasure. And you guys, make sure tomorrow, Thursday, March 6th, is the huge premiere of part two of Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black. And I cannot wait to see it. Make sure you go watch it and leave a comment right here. Leave a comment for us so we can come back and do this again because I cannot wait. I cannot wait to binge watch it this weekend.
All right, Queen. It's been a great pleasure
It's
talking to
been a
you.
pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
All
Bye.
right. Bye bye.